You grow up on the near west side of Chicago. Your father came over from Palermo in 1901 with a carpenter's hands and a belief that America paid honest wages. It does. Just not enough of them. He dies of a chest infection in the winter of 1919 when you were 15. 3 weeks in bed, one doctor visit you couldn't afford, one funeral you couldn't afford either. Your mother takes in sewing. Your sister drops out of school to help her. You drop out 2 weeks after your father's burial because the family needs money faster than school provides it. You get a job driving a laundry truck for a Chinese outfit on Van Buren Street. 6 days a week. Before sunrise. 22 cents an hour. You learn the city the way some men learn a language. Not from books. From living inside it until it lives inside you. Every shortcut, every pothole, every beat cop's corner, and the exact time his relief shows up. The streets get into your hands through the steering wheel. You can feel a bad intersection before you see it. That skill is worth nothing to anyone who matters. Not yet. Volstead passes in January of 1920. You are 16 years old. You don't understand what it means. The men on your block understand. By summer the price of a bottle has tripled, and the men selling them are driving better cars than anyone on your street has ever owned. Rizzo finds you outside the laundry at the end of a November shift. He's small, well-dressed, smells like bay rum, works for a man on the south side who needs drivers, good drivers, men who know the streets and don't talk. He says the pay is 4 times what the laundry offers. He doesn't say what the cargo is. You're 16 years old in 1920 in Chicago. He doesn't have to. If you've ever stood outside a building in the cold with a weigh-in right in front of you, and had to decide whether to walk through it, then you already know what happens next. Stay with it. That's exactly where this story lives. You say yes. One nod in November. Your life divides into before and after, and you won't understand that for years. The first run is beer. Barrels out of a warehouse on Cicero Avenue to a restaurant on Michigan with a basement that doesn't appear on any city plan. 3 in the morning. A man you've never seen checks your face against a description, nods and waves you through the gate. Nobody speaks. You drive home before sunrise. Rizzo hands you $6. The laundry pays $9 for a full week. You do the arithmetic before you're out of sight. You keep the laundry job for 2 more months. Cover, Rizzo explains. A 16-year-old with money and no job attracts attention. A delivery driver with a little extra on the side attracts nothing. You drive clean linen in the morning and illegal beer at night, and the 2 lives don't touch. That separation feels like protection. It isn't. It's just 2 rooms in the same burning building. By spring you're doing 5 runs a week. The product changes. Beer, then wine, then whiskey in wooden crates, stamped pharmaceutical supply. Sometimes you carry sealed boxes you're not told to open. You don't open them. You drive. The driving is clean. That's what you tell yourself. You're moving cargo. What's inside it is somebody else's department. The somebody else is a man named Johnny Torrio, who runs the Southside operation out of the 4 Deuces on Wabash. You've heard the name the way you hear thunder. Present and distant and connected to weather you can't stop. Your cut reaches $12 a run by summer, then 15. You move out of your mother's apartment into a room on Halsted Street. $3.50 a week. You keep the rest in a coffee can behind the loose brick under the kitchen window. Banks keep records, and records are how men get arrested. You learn this the way you learn everything in this work. By watching what happens to men who don't. You meet Dino on a loading dock in Bridgeport. He's been driving for Torrio's operation since before Volstead, a Neapolitan with a brother on the force and a memory for faces that borders on disturbing. He can describe every man he's seen on every corner in 4 wards going back 3 years. You trust him immediately. He's the first person since your father died that you trust without deciding to. Dino explains the full shape of it. Torrio isn't running a bootleg operation. He's running a city. Police captains, aldermen, judges, a network of payments and accommodations so thoroughly embedded in the municipal structure that removing it would require demolishing the building it lives in. Prohibition didn't create this. It just made it worth more money than anyone had ever seen in one place. Then Torrio brings in the man from Brooklyn. His name is Alphonse Capone, and he arrives in Chicago in 1921 as Torrio's bookkeeper, which is what they call him until they don't need to anymore. You see him first at the 4 Deuces, heavyset, 22 years old. A scar on his left cheek that makes his face look like it survived an argument with something sharp. He wears expensive suits. He laughs easily and loudly, and the laugh reaches his eyes, which is more than you can say for most men in this work. Torrio trusts him completely. That trust is the most important fact about him. The good runs are the winters of 1922 and 1923. You and Dino drive parallel routes through the city in the hours before dawn. The cold empties the streets. The street lamps make orange pools on wet pavement. Your breath fogs the glass, and you wipe it with your sleeve. You are 19 years old and invisible, and the city belongs to you in a way it belongs to no one who sleeps through these hours. You hold on to that feeling later. The way a man holds a lit match in the dark, because everything after those winters gets complicated. Torrio gets shot outside his apartment in January of 1925. Two men with shotguns in a parked car. He survives and retires to Italy. He hands Capone the entire operation. Every ward, every judge, every captain, every barrel, every dollar. He hands it to a 26-year-old from Brooklyn and gets on a boat. Capone moves the headquarters to the Metropole Hotel on Michigan Avenue. 6 floors, 50 rooms, armed men in the corridors and on the elevators, and at the front and back doors. He needs drivers he can trust. Rizzo recommends you. You've been driving for 5 years without a single problem. No arrests, no accidents, no loose talk. In this business, that record is a career. The interview lasts 8 minutes. Capone sits behind a desk with his jacket off and his sleeves rolled and asks 3 questions. Where are you from? Do you drink on the job? Can you find your way out of any neighborhood in the city blindfolded? You answer them. He looks at you the way men in this position look at anything they're about to put their lives in the hands of, methodically. Hired. $200 a month. Cash. A car kept in a garage on Wabash. A telephone number that rings any hour. The understanding that your schedule is not your schedule anymore. Your job is simple. You drive Capone where he needs to go and you get him there alive, and you don't tell anyone where you went or when or why. You are not a bodyguard. There are men for that. You are not a soldier. There are men for that too. You are a driver. The distinction matters for approximately the first year. You learn him the way you've learned every street in the city. His habits, his rhythms. He eats the same breakfast every morning at the same table on South Wabash. He calls his mother in Brooklyn every Sunday. He loves opera in the way some men love horses, with a devotion that embarrasses him slightly in the wrong company. He is genuinely funny in small groups. He is genuinely terrifying when he's not. The distance between those two versions is not always visible in advance. You learn to read the weather. You drive him to the Hawthorne Inn in Cicero, to backroom meetings at restaurants with no windows, to the racetrack and the fights, and once to a school recital for a nephew he dotes on with an openness that would astonish the newspapers. You drive him through the city at night when he can't sleep. He sits in the back and watches Chicago pass and says nothing. You say nothing. Some hours are like that. The North Siders are always there. Bugs Moran's people, what's left of the O'Banion outfit after O'Banion got shot in his flower shop. They hit Capone's cars twice in 1926. 12 cars on Cicero Avenue, 200 rounds. You're not driving that day. Dino is. He walks away with glass in his jacket, and a story he tells for the rest of his life. You understand for the first time that luck is a column in the ledger. It runs out the same way as everything else. You drive Capone away from 3 ambushes over 2 years. You don't know they're ambushes until they're happening. The rule is simple. When something feels wrong, it is wrong. You don't wait to confirm it. You move. The first time saves his life. He says nothing in the car. The next morning there's an envelope on the front seat with $500. No note. You carry a pistol from the spring of 1926. A .45 in a shoulder holster under your left arm. You are not asked to use it. Not asked to carry it either. It simply appears in the car one morning in a brown paper bag, and you put it on. Some mornings you feel it, and some mornings you forget it's there. You're not sure which is more frightening. Your mother knows something is wrong the way mothers know things. She feeds you and watches you eat, and the watching has weight. Your sister asks you once, in the kitchen on a Sunday after the dishes. You tell her you drive for a hotel company. She looks at you with your father's eyes, which she has and you don't, and says nothing more. You pay her rent for 3 years without making it a conversation. The St. Valentine's Day is February of 1929. You are not there. You are not anywhere near it. You drive Capone to a meeting in Miami 3 days before, and you are still in Florida when the news reaches you. 7 men in a garage on North Clark Street. The papers call it a massacre, and they're right. Capone is in Florida, which everyone knows is not an accident. You drive him back from the airport and he looks out the window at the city, and his face is a closed door. You do not discuss it. You never discuss it. That silence has its own weight, and it lives in the car with you from that day forward. The federal men start appearing that summer, not uniformed, not announcing themselves, just present. A car parked across from the Metropole 2 days running. A man in a diner who asks you questions about your employer while pretending to ask about the weather. You note it and report it, and Capone notes it with a stillness that is more unsettling than anger would be. They're not going after the bootlegging. They're going after the taxes. A man from the IRS has been following the money for 2 years. Capone explains it himself. In the car, on the way to a lawyer's office on LaSalle. His voice is level. He has made a great deal of money. He has spent a great deal of money. Nobody paid taxes on any of it. That is the entire problem. 3 sentences. He is indicted in June of 1931. The trial begins in October. You drive him to the courthouse every morning. He wears a different suit each day. He nods to the reporters. He walks in like a man arriving for work. Inside, the arithmetic is being done out loud in a room full of people, and the answer is years in federal prison, and there is nothing in this city that can change that. The feds are a different kind of mathematics. He is convicted on October 17th. 11 years. You are parked on Michigan Avenue with the engine running for 45 minutes before someone comes out and tells you he won't be needing a ride today. You sit in the car for a long time after that. Dino helps you find work with a different outfit on the northwest side after. The pay is half, and the man you drive has none of Capone's gravity. It's just a job. Cargo and roads, and the city at night. You marry a woman named Rosa from your old neighborhood. She knows what you did and doesn't ask you to explain it. You move to Bridgeport, 2 kids, a legitimate car driven legitimately. Repeal comes in December of 1933. The business that built everything you've seen becomes legal overnight. The men who ran it don't disappear. They just change what they're selling. You think about those drives sometimes. The city at 3 in the morning, empty and orange lit. A man in the back seat who ran Chicago the way mayors only pretend to. The silence of those hours. What you could hear in it. There's nothing you'd call regret exactly. More like a calculation you keep running, and never quite finishing. What it cost. What it built. Whether those 2 columns balance. They don't. But you keep driving. That's the only thing you ever really knew how to do. That's a wrap. The story is fiction. Al Capone is not. He ran Chicago from a hotel suite and a back seat and a telephone, and somewhere between 1925 and 1931 the city belonged to him in a way that no city has ever belonged to one man before or since. If this made you think, drop a comment, subscribe for more.